You can start by telling me about your experience as a designer. I mean, as like a person who's currently studying design, and also like why you're doing the things that you're doing right now, if that's okay with you.
Mm, well, my story is like, uh, basically, I just started like I think everyone else as liking to draw, liking
Mm-hmm.
to create stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
thinking that this would be like a nice career path that fits with our personality as a person who likes to draw. But at first, I was when I was in my high school, I was a English major student, and I have always been interested in education since then. So I thought I was going to be an English teacher because well, my major is in English. But then I joined in a it's like this project back in my hometown in Hue. Oh, I'm from Hue. I'm not a Hanoi person. In case you haven't known yet. Yes. So I joined like an event in a project in Hue about like teaching English to orphanage kids. So and then I realized that I'm not really cut out for being a full-time teacher because I'm not really patient enough with all kind of students. So basically I still like teaching. I just have this kind of high expectation and kind of, you know, for my students. So yeah, so I kind of stopped on the education path for a while, and then I pursue my other hobby, which is drawing. And I'm actually quite lucky because in my family I have a cousin who is quite a well-known designer in the UI UX field in Vietnam. So like my family was familiar with this industry before. Sorry. So yeah, because normally I meet a lot of friends who has to like who gone through a lot of difficulties convincing their parents to let them pursue this career because you know usually this has the we all know the prejudices of being a designer, being creative, etc., especially for Asian parents. So, but I'm actually quite lucky that my family has already know that this is actually a very good career path and I'm suitable for it. So my parents just encouraged me to follow the path of being a designer. And I've been self-studying design since I was in grade 11. For the 2 years, 11 and 12, I self-studied design. Like I learn how to use softwares, I read books, and yeah. And also that's another different thing about my way is that I know about design thinking quite soon. I don't just start with because usually when you start studying design, you saw the very tangible thing, which is like learning website, learning how to draw, the technical skills. But the thinking behind it is not something very visible that you know to look at. But I'm actually quite lucky too because in the same school, in my high school, I know this other guy who's also like trying to pursue the design career path. So he was like my senpai because he has like 1 year self-studying design before. And he was the one who tells me that the design thinking is important and you have to learn it and you have to read books to know about it. You have to do a lot of research, etc. Do like take care of the thinking, not just the technical skills. So he introduced me books and websites. Not so many compared to what I found now because well back then I was in grade 11. He was also only in grade 12. So we're like you know don't really know much about this whole design education thing. But still, that was a good start for someone who doesn't know anything like me back then. That was also one of the reasons why I really want to like you know put a lot of effort in my course because I want to like my students targets are the people who was like me back then when I first want to start learning design but I don't know where to start. And I know that there are lots of people who teach about softwares and Photoshop, Illustrating, for example, but about design thinking, there's not so many. There are DAS in Ho Chi Minh City. I have seen their syllabus; it's actually quite good. And Huy Ta is the founder of that. I think that he has like, this credibility because he has already worked in the industry for a while, and he's like a graduate from RMIT and etc. So yeah, but it was based in Ho Chi Minh City. and I'm based in Hanoi. So I think that my little course is not that much yet, but it could be like a head start for design education in Hanoi. So yeah. Well, for now, I just finished my year 2 in I'm in the same class with Q. So basically, I think that my experience with design education in our school would be quite similar to his. Could be a little bit different because of my background, and also his pursuit to study and like mine is a little bit different since I'm a scholar. So I have this scholarship to keep, and that would affect like my study and my planning and everything. But basically, the experience is quite similar to his. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, I muted myself because I was typing, so I didn't
Mm.
want to bother you.
No, it's
Okay.
okay.
That
It's okay.
sounds really fun because we have like kind of similar groupings of people, but like
Mm.
not too similar. I mean,
Yeah.
they're one and the same, but mine is more like people people who are like not fluent in English, or like they don't know what English is.
Mm.
But so like you, I was kind of like I am. Yeah, I started out like in Lâm Phong in Saigon, and
Oh.
yeah, so I really like English and I love design too. And then I realized that maybe being an English teacher is not like the career for me because
Oh, okay.
I don't have I don't have the patience to sit and remember all of those.
Yes, that's the same thing that happened to me when I was like joining the project back when I was in grade 11.
Yeah, no,
Same
it's
mistake.
absolutely not a thing that I would do. Um, I don't regret that. It gives me the language so I can read all of these books. But
True, true.
yeah, but if I could have majored in design back then, I would have chosen that like multiple times over English. So that's really fun
Mhm.
too. Glad to know that you're like very similar to me. Okay.
Yay.
Um. So, do you have like a design movement that you really like, or like your favorite designer? It can be anyone, anything.
Oh, my huge inspiration, like the inspiration is, Tamipu. Yeah, but like she's an illustrator. She's not a designer, but I like her path of career. Like, like she started out as an illustrator. She do a lot of freelance job, and then she just keep on working and learning. And my favorite thing about her career path is that she take a master degree in England, and then after that she became a lecturer in Ho Chi Minh City University of Architecture. So that's what's kind of the career path that I really like, like keep on working, freelancing, working on agency, etc. But beside that, I want to take a master degree in graphic design and visual communications. And I'm actually just looking for scholarship in master now. I really want to go to Europe to study my master in order to after that become a design lecturer in a university. I don't know if Q told you, but our class was like the first class of design program in BUV. So we're really close to the teachers, and my teachers, he is the program leader. So the course, like the whole program, he was the one who's in charge of like crafting it and like developing and creating the whole program. And I really really like that. I really like that job. I really want to have my own course designing it and everything. So meanwhile, like in the meantime of studying in my course now, I'm like really close to him, and I really enjoy like giving him feedback about my experience with what he taught us, and what he offered us in the course. And after experiencing the whole 2 years, and like each terms we will have like conversations, and I'm gonna give just give my feedback about what I feel about your his teachings, and what I think that could be improved more for the other cohort behind me. So that was something that I really enjoy. I really enjoy like helping him crafting the course. So yeah, so that's actually the thing that I really want to do in the future. Like, I want to have to be like a design lecturer in a university, if possible, could like craft my own program. But well, who knows? But yeah, but well, being a design professor will be cool.
Yeah, I think if you go to Europe, you're gonna be like so like fit in with there because most of the theories I'm reading, although I hate to admit it, it comes mostly from Europe and like
Yeah.
they're very forward thinking and I don't know, it's really fun to learn about their perspective and like try to apply it to what I'm
Mm,
currently drafting up right now. So yeah, I think you would be perfect just going there and like learning and everything, you know?
yeah.
Okay. Um hmm,
Do
okay,
you plan to study master
yeah, I do.
or
I'm looking into
nice?
I'm looking into grad school because
Me
like
too.
my yeah, because my plan is like work for 1 year to go to grad school, gets like
Mm,
sponsorship and everything, uh
mm,
take that thing back, translate book into Vietnamese and start teaching.
mm,
It's a very
nice.
it's a very long plan, but
Mm,
yeah. So okay, let's skip past a couple questions that I have. Yeah, I know. I also like I used to really look up to Demi Poo because like I think she documents her journey very well. Like
true,
we really
true.
see her like her progress from being like just a teen illustrator into
Mm,
somebody who builds like a whole career out of like just illustrating and then like her
mm,
journey on like pursuing high education. And I think that's really good. I think that's like such a like we don't see her work too much or we don't see like Southeast Asian designers or illustrators work in like
mm,
the, the anthology of design studied in other countries. But I do hope that we can draft something up and then bring these amazing people into the global conversation. That's like
mm.
a different thing from this. Okay. Um, I'll skip through a couple of my questions and then just gonna do these like mandatory survey because I this is like the last time I'm gonna use this like question prompts. So I want
Mm,
to like just get it out of the way and then like I can move on to new things. So the second part is surveying your education. And so I'll have like a couple of questions I would like you to rate from 1 to 5, with 1 being completely disagree to 5 being completely agree. And
mm,
I would like to hear reasoning behind them too, if possible.
mm, mm,
Okay. So the first section is educational benefit. The the statement is my design education has equipped me with adequate industry and creative knowledge.
mm. I would say 4.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
My education challenged me both intellectually and creatively.
yeah, 5. That
Okay.
because in my school, we were like, I think it's the same in like international school in general, but like our assignments are all project based, and we have like very huge part in deciding what we're gonna do. Sometimes we start from scratch, and it really challenges us because like where to start. Like basically the whole process is like we do it everything all by ourselves, and that was really challenging. And also, as I mentioned before, I'm a scholar, so I have this kind of high score um, uh, condition to keep my scholarship. That's why I actually really pushed myself to study and to explore as much as I could in order to get like a high score. But beside from that, I learned a lot too. So it was really challenging for me. The last 2 years was really challenging intellectually, but it was very rewarding. So yeah, it's a 5.
Yeah, that's awesome. So do you think like is it because of your status as a university scholar that makes you work harder or do you want to work harder because that's what you see in yourself?
Both. That would be both.
Okay.
I loved studying design. So without the scholarship, I would still work really hard. But the scholarship actually had this kind of a tangible motivation.
Mm-hmm.
So it put like my effort into like real actions, because well, it has a consequence if I don't work. So I don't look at it as like a pressure. It is still a pressure, but not that much. It's more like a motivation for me to work, and it helps. Because unlike Q is not a scholar, but he still study very hard because he just loves studying it, and he has this like really high self-discipline. I don't. I mean, I have self-discipline too, but not as high as his. So without the scholarship, I don't think I could work as hard as he does. So
Mm-hmm.
so yeah.
I see. Yeah, no, I think like we're pretty similar because I'm also like a I'm like a scholar at my school too.
Mm-hmm.
I work so hard. Like I literally try
uh,
to do everything I can just to be better than other people, which I realize it's a very harmful mindset to have as a designer. Um,
mm.
but yeah. So what do you think about other students who might not have the same motivation as we or like the status as you? Would they still try to work hard or would they just try to coast by from your
Mm.
observation?
I would say that they still try to work hard, but not as well as we do.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's this thing. I think that Q and I both have this kind of so you know when in the class there's some student who were so good that the other student would be like not, you know, like you feel
Mm-hmm.
imposter syndrome. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to do that, but I feel like us, well, me, I have a scholarship, so I have literally have a reason to tell them that I had to work hard. But
Mm-hmm.
um yeah, it's not saying that they only work to just like go to just pass is not
Mm-hmm.
fair, because I know they work very hard,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think they have this motivation as we do.
Okay. Uh, yeah. Follow-up question to that. Do you think because of how hard you work in your university, it would distinguish yourself and like the peers that you associate yourself with from the rest of the people?
mm, what do you mean by that? Like working hard make me different from other students in
Mm-hmm.
my course?
Yeah. Like, do
Yeah,
you think it makes you
obviously.
different? Yeah.
Obviously.
Mm.
But I'm not the only one who's as that hardworking. I know other people who also as hardworking,
Mm-hmm.
some even more.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the difference that I have in my course is that I'm like a very reflective person, and I reflect a lot
Mm-hmm.
on what I study and why
Mm-hmm.
do my teacher teach me that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one of the reasons why I'm really close to the lecturer, because I usually reflect on that, and I
Mm-hmm.
actually gave him my personal opinion about how the course could be better.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's one of the things that's different about me. I actually care about the course as
Mm-hmm.
the course itself, not just what I can get out of it as a student.
Mm. Interesting. Uh, because I talk to a lot of people, and then they just like either try to not engage with the lecturer, or just
Mm,
try to like internalize what the teacher says and just kind of act upon it without like putting feedback and like making this as like a real conversation. It's more
mm,
of like a one-sided directional guidance rather than like people in the same career conversing with each other. So that's really cool.
yeah.
Um, yeah, awesome. So, so next statement is I'm encouraged to do more than what is expected of me.
Yes.
Okay.
5.
Um, mhm. Yeah, of course. Okay, next one is I feel grounded in my design studies. I feel sure about my design studies.
Mm, yeah, I do. I do feel sure about my design studies. Well, maybe not certainly too sure, because um, but the downside of studying like a project base and we have to do everything is that, well, we have to do everything, and it's not like we know how to do everything. And I think that my uh, disadvantage compared to other designers is that my software skill is not as good as they are, and it's hard to actually have the time to learn how to, learn like a software skill course or anything. I just like learn it along the way of studying my, design course. So I think, but when you enter a career, you have to kind of be a graphic designer first, like a junior one. So who's the one who execute the work first, and then you will go up to the thinking part later on, like director and everything. So I think that's a disadvantage of me, and my school does not really provide like design software courses. So yeah, um, but other thing about like about design thinking and how to do a project and everything, I feel very grounded about that. There's a thing that I actually want to study more, which is art history. We have a term of learning about art history, but one term is not enough for such a long history of art and design. So I actually wish to have more time to look into that, because I'm really interested in art history too. You are also an art history major, right?
So I'm a graphic design major, art history minor, and museum studies minor.
Mm.
Yeah, so the other two is just really just theory and history and stuff.
Mm.
Yeah, it's fun, I guess.
But it's actually interesting. Well, it is hard. During that term, that was like the hardest term I had.
Mhm.
But it was like the most interesting one, because we were taught about, as well as the history and the thing like artwork or design, famous designer, famous artist, famous movement and everything. We were also taught about semiotics and basically philosophy in art. Maybe not the word philosophy, but like the thinkers of the time and how they look at art and how they look into the way art affect people and audience affect artists,
Mm.
that kind of relationship. And that was real interesting. I really like the series Ways of Seeing
Mhm.
by John Berger.
Mm.
Is it John Berger? Yeah, but basically I'm really interested in stuff like that, and I actually wish to have more time to study in that, not just design work. So I guess I'm actually quite a thinker and interested in theory stuff of
Mhm.
design.
All right, we're
Mm,
basically the same.
yeah. Oh my,
I hate
oh my god.
softwares. The only software that I'm good at is InDesign. Like when I say I'm good at InDesign, it's like I know InDesign inside out. But like other things like Cinema 40 or I mean I know
I
After
cannot
Effects,
use Cinema 4D.
and I'm not gonna waste my time with Cinema 40 because I feel
I
like it's
know.
pointless. It looks great, but I can't. I'm not the type of person to like doing those things.
Yes. Well, Cinema 40 is actually Q's website. He
I
worked
know.
mainly on Cinema 40. So, and whenever I look at him working, I'm like, what the hell are you doing? What the
Exactly.
hell is that?
Like some people are just that good with that thing, and I'm like, well, sorry, I can read better than you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, I'm like,
I mean, it balanced out.
I'm actually quite good at Illustrator myself.
Mm-hmm.
Not
Yeah.
too bad with Illustrator, because I'm also interested in branding and
Mm-hmm.
doing stuff like logo. So
Mm-hmm.
Illustrator would be the strongest
Yeah.
software that I'd use.
Yeah. Me too. I use Illustrator and InDesign like interchangeably. Like
Mm,
it's the two softwares that I feel most comfortable working with.
mm.
So yeah, but
Photoshop is not that comfortable for me.
no, I have like Illustrator friends and they use Photoshop like crazy. They're pretty cool about it, and I like that. I
But
like people.
it's interesting how Illustrator actually use Photoshop more and graphic designer use Illustrator more.
Yeah, it's
It's
wrong name.
hilarious.
Yeah. Okay. So how would you rate that previous sentence?
That
I didn't
feel
catch that.
grounded.
Mm-hmm.
I would say I would say 3.
Okay. Yeah, not bad. Next one. So last one for this section is called My Design Education Has Helped Me Foster a Creative Community That I Can Definitely Rely on.
2.
Okay. Wow.
I think Q has already talked about this, but like
Mm-hmm.
because our course is like the first cohort of the whole program, and after us there are just like 1, 2, 3, 4 other cohorts. There's the fifth one incoming, but they're not that much.
Okay.
So in total there are about like maybe like 50 or 60 students, and not
60?
everyone, maybe like I mean all cohort are like
Mm-hmm.
50 students or something, so it's not that much, it's not that many, and it's not like we know everyone, and yeah, so the community that we had in our school is not that many,
Mm.
but the community that I actually have, I'm not very good at networking,
You don't have to
so
be. Like I have okay, once we finish with this though, we're gonna start talking about other things.
yeah.
Okay.
But like I'm not very good at networking, so I don't really reach out for other designers and creative people
Mm-hmm.
in general because I feel really shy. Also, I feel the imposter syndrome that I'm not good enough to befriend them.
Oh.
Yeah, so yeah, but the creative community that I know, I also know from Q, because he was in this Zoomer group that you were all also invited in.
Mm-hmm.
So I know other creative people thanks to that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the creative community that I originally have at my school is not that much.
Mm. I see.
But I'm actually don't think of it as a bad thing though. It was actually what it was before I go to BUV. I acknowledged that this is the first cohort, which means that the creative community in my school would not be that much. But I don't think of it as like a downside. It
Mm-hmm.
does have some downside, but it's not that bad
Mm-hmm.
because, well, creative work for me it's more personal,
Mm.
and of course you need teamwork to work creatively too, but I still prefer to work personally and turn my design creative work personal. Kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I put it out there, but well.
Mm. I think that makes sense though.
Mm,
Since since like we're all taught to be like individual, be creative,
mm,
your work is gonna serve you and yourself only. But so I've been reading a lot, and
mm,
I realized that that's such an unhealthy way to do design, or like to just be a creative person. Because I'm currently at home studying through Zoom,
mm,
and I don't have my school is like 10 minutes away from me. But being outside of that sphere of creative people who are like constantly making things, it really
mm,
puts like a blanket, like a really wet blanket on top
mm,
of like my motivation and my productivity. So like you might not notice it, but like working in solitude really just brings no joy, to so to say. I mean, it's great that you have like the choice to be lonely, but now like we're forced to be like
yeah.
like this. It then you realize that you need like other creative people so you can feed off their energy.
Mm,
That's
mm,
my like idea about it. Um,
mm. It is valid. It is valid though. I
mhm,
still enjoy working in the studio
mhm,
while there are other students in there too, and it's actually quite nice that everyone is working and I'm working too.
mhm,
But I don't think it's necessarily has to be the studio. I'm
mhm,
actually work quite well when I go to the coffee shop, and I don't really care if they work they are working on creative work or whatever. I just
mhm,
really want to have like this working environment so I can
mhm,
create my own stuff. They work on their own stuff, and that's all. That's it.
mhm. Yeah, definitely. I miss coffee shops a lot. Like I
Yeah,
miss them so much, and haven't been. You know the coffee house?
yeah. I love the coffee house. I
That's
went
like
to
my
that a lot.
favorite place to work when I was in Vietnam.
True.
Like my parents, like they just complain they never see me at home because I would be always out there for like 8 hours a day.
I know. Oh my god. I waste
Huh.
a lot of money on, well, not waste, but like spend a lot of money on the coffee house.
I'm like a diamond member.
Oh my god, I don't know what kind of member I am right now. I want to check.
It's been so long since I had like a good cup of like their seasonal Christmas drink. Ugh. So it's fun. Like I miss coffee shop hopping and a lot of things. Okay, next section. It would be nice if we can meet in real life one day. One day.
Yeah, true. Well,
Mhm.
oh, I'm also a diamond member.
Of course you are. Like sometimes I would buy like 2 or 3 cups for like my one visit, which is pretty like a lot of money for a high school students. Okay, next one is so this section is called personal growth and critical thinking. So the first statement of it is I am capable of organizing my professional life.
Yes, that would be a 5. I'm
Okay.
actually a planner.
Oh.
I love planning. Sometimes I plan too much. Instead of actually working, I plan more than I work, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
But
I only plan when like my life absolutely depends on planning. Especially when it comes to like big projects. If I don't plan for big projects, I will literally like just set myself on fire.
True. Well, I understand that. So, time to flex. This is my planner.
Okay, that's cute.
This is my planner, and I draw this myself.
Aww. Ugh,
And
those white pens last forever.
I know. So this is this work planning.
God. Yeah.
I literally plan every week, and this is I have you here. I have called Chloe as 10.
That's so nice. Thank you.
Hey. So like I'm a planner. I literally have to plan out everything that I do. It's to the point that it's actually an issues because when I was in the second term of my first year, I kind of plan and I expect too much of myself instead of actually start working. So it slowed down my process. And I think that being it plan too much is not that good. So I have to learn how to balance out between planning ahead and actually staying in the moment and start working.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm much better at that now, but still.
Like I'm a planning crazy kind of person too. Let me show you my my planning process. Okay. Okay.
I love that you use Notion. I
I
just know
do.
about Notion recently.
It's really good. So this is my
I just know about
thesis. Oh,
nice.
yeah. So it's all the work that I have to do
Oh
for my
wow.
thesis, and each of these like they opens out to like a
So,
little section, and then like I have oh that's empty. There's nothing in there. Of course there isn't. So I have like all of these stuff to do. This is my schoolwork.
oh my god.
So I use this to track like I at the beginning
Oh
of the
dang.
semester I just dropped everything in and I marked things that like repetitive tasks and I have like these columns to check things off. Because
Dang.
yeah, I know.
So cool. I think I'm gonna ask you to like, can you send me like a
Yeah, sure. I can send you the template.
no, I mean like yes, can you send me the template? I was asking for the template. I was just afraid if I asked you to send me the thing, you will like leak your content or whatever.
Oh
But
no,
like, you know,
there's nothing to leak. But
you
like
send
I'll
me the
send you the template to like my Notion stuff. So it's pretty cool and like setting it up like it's
thank you. Thank you.
it takes so much steam off my back because before I didn't use to plan at all. And like whenever homework rushed up to me, I get so stressed out. But yeah,
Yeah.
never underestimate the power of planning. Okay,
Yes. Yep.
next part.
I use okay.
Oh no, what you continue.
There's just a one side, yeah, just one side thing that I actually use Notion to track my finance, my spending,
I gave up
which is actually work. I was like I actually craft out a template myself for like tracking finance. I could send you one if you want.
Yeah, sure, thank you. I mean,
You can try.
I've been spending so much money on like design books, and I just
Hey.
like I just stopped tracking my money. And like whenever I have like my paycheck, I just save it, and then I go into the online bookstore, see what I like, and I
Hmm.
just put all my money in there,
Hmm.
which is kind of stupid. But yeah. Okay, next one is I'm capable of organizing my personal life. That's a question for you. Hello, hello, can you hear me?
Mm, yeah, yeah. It was like unstable
Oh, okay.
connection for a while.
Okay. The question was I'm capable of
So the question is,
organizing,
I'm capable of
yes, my personal life.
my personal life. Not that well.
Okay.
Not that well compared to professional life because uh I don't. It's not that I don't know how to cook, but I'm not a very good cook.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to eating, I'm quite lazy.
Oh,
Yeah. So I guess that's not very good personal life organizing already.
yes. I can totally feel that.
Yeah.
So how would you rate it?
It's like basically cooking or uh I would rate it a 3. It's not that
Okay.
bad, it's just not good.
Okay. Next one. At school, I rarely make projects that feel boring.
You the
Flu.
connection cut
Oh,
out for a while.
really? Again? Okay. I think it's
Yeah,
stable now.
yeah, it was
Okay.
okay, okay.
So the question was, I rarely make projects. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I can now.
Okay. The question is, I rarely make projects that feel stale or boring.
Mm. Well, it is true that I am really selective over the projects that I work on. So it would be a 4. I usually have to consider like, does it help me work well, or like, does it can I actually learn something out of it? Um, but sometimes I work on projects because of like for the sake of uh how can I say this? Like in Vietnamese, it's like very nể, like the other person nể, kiểu cả nể. So like some people would like invite me to work on some kind of projects, and sometimes I find it hard to actually decline it because because of the relationship between me and the other person. So I would work on it even though working on that project doesn't really teach me anything. So that was when I would feel bored of working on that project. But well, it's hard because it's not like because it being too selective is gonna hard for networking. Well, networking at this time is important. So so yeah, usually personal project or the project that I have 100% of deciding if whether I join that project or not, there would be very interesting projects. But there are projects that I join for the sake of the networking, so that would not be too good. So I would rate it a 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Next question is, I'm encouraged to think independently.
Um, 4.
Okay. Okay. Next one. I acquire valuable skill sets through educational exposure. For example,
Yes.
collaboration, work delegation, time management, blah blah. Things
5.
like that. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. It's actually hard for people to pick up on that. I from my observation. Because it surprised me at the time, because usually when I work on and like when I study with other people and I basically get, as like the word you use, get exposed to education, I pick out these little things myself, like how to teamwork with other creative people. It was it was the biggest lesson when I went to my internship in Indonesia this at the beginning of this year. So I have 2 months working in Indonesia in an event agency, and the biggest thing, like the biggest lesson that I take out from that experience is how to teamwork, how to work as like a whole huge creative team. And also time management is something that I study myself. I um, throughout the time I learned how to do it myself without no one really teaching. It just like put me into the experience, into having to do a lot of work, and then I figure it out myself. And yeah, so basically all of these things, the skill set from being exposed to education, I actually usually taken these skills out myself, not without anyone's guidance. But then it's actually surprised me that not so many people could actually pick out these skill set themselves. For example, about the planning thing. Well, I don't know what to say, but like, yeah. So, yeah.
Follow-up question to that. Do you think like soft skills can be taught in school, or is it something that you have to be alert enough to pick it up on your own?
I think it should be taught in school, but not like it would be like it's like a process of learn by experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
Like because the soft skills is if you taught them like how to use this, it's just a bunch of theories,
Mm-hmm.
and you can only actually use it and then find the best way that work for you by actually experiencing it and putting it into practice. So they need both. They need both. Like, well, the soft skills should be taught so that the student would be aware that those skills are necessary for them. But then they themselves need to be alert about that too. They need to be aware of, not every the soft skill things are very personal. Not every methods work for everyone. You gotta find out the best method that work for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Just the planning thing. For example, I have learned how to plan a lot, and I have tried a lot of method of planning that I find out online and everything, but not everything worked for me.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually I have to pick out what worked best for me, actually craft something out myself to help me with my planning. So yeah, and without being alert about it myself, I cannot actually craft a whole method for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, soft skill is something that need both sides.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, yeah.
Mm.
Sorry, I'm just remembering about my homework right now, and I remember I planned it out to do it, and I haven't done it yet. So I'm just,
Oh shit! It's
it's
actually a thing.
like sometimes you just sit there and do something and you just remember about responsibilities.
Yeah, I know.
Next
Totally
question.
relatable.
Yeah. Next question is, I'm able to convey my thoughts and decisions clearly through verbal means. When I say verbal means, I mean writing and speaking.
It will be a. Can we like have writing and speaking individually,
Yeah,
because
sure.
it would be a 5. It would for me it would be a 5 in speaking, but
Mhm.
it will only be a 3 in writing. I'm not very good at writing. I'm more of a speaking kind of person. I'm just gonna tell you my ideas, but not write it out for you because I'm not
Mhm.
very good at writing in general.
Yeah. Okay. Next one. I'm able to convey my thoughts and decisions clearly through visual means. When I say that, I mean like if you show people your process book or you put in a presentation to describe your work,
Mm.
will people understand it without you actually telling them
Oh,
what to
yeah,
understand?
that would be a 5.
Okay.
My sketchbook are more like so like in our school we have this kind of a sketchbook for each module. So I think you guys have that too.
Hmm.
That sketchbook is kind of like a
Yes.
learning journal of like documenting what we learn, what we research, what we study, basically what we do throughout the whole course. And my sketchbook is literally like a journal. I document and I write everything down very details in
Mm-hmm.
details, and literally I can just give you my sketchbook and you can read it yourself. You don't really need me explaining what is going on in there.
Mm-hmm. I think that's really
And
nice.
the same thing goes with presentation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, next
Yay.
one. I am in touch with the current trend.
Probably a tree.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really in touch with current trends. I mean,
All
the
right.
trends in design would be, yeah, the trend in designs would be like 4 to 5, but trends general, like TikTok, nope. I have no idea what's going on in like the cultural world.
Um, I'm so like updated with TikTok because I watch TikTok every day. Because people on TikTok they
No,
possess.
I don't watch TikTok though.
You should because they have like really good. Well, like don't put it into like Vietnam because they're gonna be like a bunch of cringy stuff.
Mm.
But some people they like
Oh
really
yes, that's what I
do.
know about TikTok.
Some people do like really good storytelling on TikTok, and that's why I follow them
Ah.
because it's really fun and like
Mm.
informative to learn about how they can convey something boring into something really fun. Okay.
Mm.
Okay. Next one. I am. Can you hear me? Can you hear me well?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
It's a little bit GG's in the middle, but it's okay.
Spoiler alert, I paid like $90 per month for Wi-Fi, so it should not be doing this to me. Um, okay. No. My next question to you is I'm able to find meanings in my work. Wait, did you hear me?
Yes,
Okay.
it's a 5.
Okay.
Not very clear though, and it
Is it really
keep on
jittery?
disconnect.
Is it really
Yeah,
jittery?
it is. It's a little bit.
Ugh, fine. Um, let me
It,
try.
yeah,
Okay, is it better? Or is it still like crackling?
yeah, it is. It
Okay.
is better. Do I need to turn off my camera too,
No, you
so
don't
it
have
will
to. You
help
don't have
the
to.
both side?
Oh, you don't have to. Um, all right. Next question. Yeah, you don't have to. It's fine. So my next question is,
Still a
I'm
little bit. Okay.
hmm, connection seems to be stable. Yeah. So my next
Hello.
question to you is, I'm able to find meanings in my industry. Wait, is it?
In my industry,
Mm-hmm.
um, it will be a 4.
Okay.
Well, just the first, just a little explanation about I'm able to find meanings stuff in general.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Finding meanings is the thing that I really enjoy to do. It's just like I'm really enjoying asking the question why, and why is it that way? Why does it work that way? Why do this, that, and yeah, kind of things like that. An example is when I listen to music, I usually try to find the meanings behind them. And the same thing happens to when I read books or when I design or when I look at other people designing artwork. Hello, can you hear me? Oh, you're muting yourself. Okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah, I
thought
can
you
hear you.
I thought there's
No,
a
no, no.
muting. Yeah, yeah.
No worries. I can hear you
So
well.
so yay. Yeah, so yeah, that's actually one of the reasons why I really love Taylor Swift because of her lyrics, you know.
Yeah, I think
So
she writes very well.
I know. So yeah, finding meanings in my work and my other people work and like my industry in general is something that I do continuously, do a
Mm-hmm.
lot. Yeah.
Okay. So a follow-up question that I have to that is uh probably a different way to understand finding meaning. It's like you wake up in the morning, you look at your work and you want to continue working on it. Like you can
Mm,
see the light in your work that keeps you going.
mm,
The same thing with the industry too. So I think my question was more on that side, but you can answer however you want.
What? Wait.
Oh, did you hear me? Or did I break out again?
Hello.
Hello?
You break out a little bit. Can you repeat?
Wait, can you hear me now?
It's a little bit jittery.
Okay. Let me let me create a different meeting. This meeting is not working.